Wish you could consistently land 10 plus B2B clients every month. I used to struggle just like you until I cracked a repeatable system that took my tiny business from barely surviving to £250,000 in 1 year. So in this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step system you can copy, no sales experience needed, no complicated marketing, and it's proven to work fast. To start, let me show you exactly what the system is and how I finally figured it out so you can save yourself the years of trial and error. Now, when I first started my video production business in 2012, it ran entirely on hope. I just hoped that my network would send me new clients, and for a while it worked. Times were really good until they weren't. One day, the referrals from my network simply tapped out and my business started to nosedive. In fact, our turnover halved for 2 years in a row. I was completely out of control, and on top of that, I was struggling to pay my mortgage, so I was very quickly spiraling towards not having anywhere to live. So I had to figure this out. Now, in hindsight, I know this situation happened because I had 3 core problems. And over the years, helping hundreds of other B2B businesses, I saw these same 3 problems over and over. And if you have any issues with your client acquisition, it's because you have at least one, if not more, of these problems. But what were these 3 core problems? Well, firstly, people didn't get what I offered. They couldn't see the value in it, and I just looked like everyone else in the market. My messaging was confusing, and I'll be honest, not really that appealing. Then I tried marketing sporadically, things like event, cold calling, and networking meetings to bring in leads, but nothing consistently worked. So I didn't actually have any system to generate sales calls. And finally, even when I did get sales calls, I just didn't know how to turn them into paying customers. Now, thankfully, I found the solutions for these 3 problems, and I put them into a system called the Controlled Growth Framework. Now, I am going to show you what these solutions are so that you can get a clear roadmap to getting more B2B clients. I'm going to show you how we can clarify your marketing messaging. Then I'm going to show you how to set up a sales call engine. Then I am going to show you how to convert those leads into paying customers. So first off, let me show you how you can position your messaging so that no matter what marketing approach you try, it works faster and cheaper. So let's go back to the first part of my journey in discovering the answers to these 3 problems. It's 2019, my business is falling apart, great. And I'm trying everything I can to sell my suite of video production services to local businesses. But I knew I couldn't figure this out alone, so I took out a business loan because I had no money, maybe not a wise choice, and I invested in a business coach. And the first thing they recommended was to strip everything back. Now, I remember the resistance I felt about this. I remember thinking, surely if I offer multiple different video services to multiple different companies, I have more things to sell to more people, and therefore I will make more money. But reluctantly, I followed their advice. And the thing I noticed with every marketing approach I tried was that whenever I portrayed a simple outcome for one avatar, not only did I attract more leads, but those leads actually turned into clients way easier. But what was I doing to create that reaction from prospects? Well, I took my services and I focused them on 3 core problems, and then I packaged them into one signature system. This made it easy for my prospects to not only understand the outcome and the value of the service, but also gave me a unique delivery mechanism for that result. Suddenly, I wasn't just another option, I had a unique solution, and I stopped being compared to competitors just on price. So simplifying and clarifying my messaging was the foundation that finally started to turn everything around. And once I grasped this, I remember my feelings of like, oh shit, my business is gonna die and I'm gonna lose my flat, changed to this confidence that it was actually gonna work out. So let me show you how you can clarify your messaging by positioning your service into a signature system so you can supercharge all of your marketing efforts. Now, what I'm about to show you is a process that I spent years perfecting, but it does it better and it only takes about 20 minutes. First, use ChatGPT or any AI tool to analyze conversations or transcripts from your ideal clients. Look for the words and phrases they use when they talk about their problems and what they want. You don't have to use AI to do this, but trust me, it's a lot easier. Next, ask ChatGPT to help you summarize the 3 core things your audience cares about most. This will help you craft an offer that speaks directly to them using their own language. Finally, use this insight to create your signature system. And your signature system just resolves those 3 core problems. That's all it does. Now, focus all of your messaging on those 3 core problems and how you resolve them using your signature system. Now, you may have noticed this is what my signature system, the Control Growth Framework, is doing for you right now. So if you want more help, I've got links in the description to an in-depth free training for the full system and to apply to work with us. When you get this right, your messaging will finally click and you'll attract the right clients instead of chasing the wrong ones. But once we have this signature system, how do we get ourselves out there and build a sales call engine that brings sales calls into our diary on autopilot? Once I got my messaging right, I'll be honest, I was buzzing. I thought I'd cracked it, but unfortunately NatWest doesn't accept emotional breakthroughs as payment. I needed to actually get people on the phone, but I had 0 calls booked into my diary. So I rolled up my sleeves, started reaching out to people one by one every single day. I'd record a quick personalized Loom video for each person and I'd send it to them directly. Guess what? It worked. People started booking calls. And I'll tell you in a second exactly what I did with that personalized outreach. But soon I hit a wall. I just didn't have enough hours in the day to keep up with all the manual outreach. That's when I realized I needed to scale. So I took the exact approach that worked in my personal messages and I used it in simple online ads. The best part, all of that one-on-one outreach taught me exactly who my message resonated with, what they liked and what they ignored. I couldn't have figured it out by guessing. I had to get in the trenches, reach out and let the process teach me. So I'm going to show you how you can build your own sales call engine even if you're starting from scratch. Now you always want to start with some form of manual outreach. Every day pick a handful of potential clients. Now 80% of B2B buyers expect a personalized experience according to quite a few different surveys. So record short personalized videos using Loom for each. Mention something specific about their business and share a quick tip or insight that's genuinely useful to them. And this is the key, is not to pitch them right away, but focus on helping them. You can do this by giving them feedback on something they have that's public facing, or by sharing findings or case studies that might be relevant to their situation. After you've given them this free value, then you can upsell them to the call. And this method of giving before asking is really at the core of all B2B client acquisition. Now, once you've booked a few calls and learned what works, take those winning messages and just turn them into simple ad campaigns. Use the same offer, use the same language, and target the same types of people who responded to your outreach. This way, you're not guessing, you're just scaling up what's already proven to work. That is how you build a real reliable engine for booking sales calls and growing your business. But there's still one part of the puzzle missing if you want to get 10 plus clients a month for your B2B business. So there I was. Calls were finally filling up my diary, but another conversation with my mortgage provider revealed that yet again, apparently sales calls booked into my Google Calendar aren't a form of legal tender. Unfortunately, that's when a new problem hit me. I remember sitting on a call with my accountability coach, telling him, I have just had 40 calls in a row and not a single one closed. And I started to think maybe I was just terrible at sales. I mean, I probably was. It was brutal. So I did some soul searching.
Long weekend looking into the mirror.
All right, bit of soul searching, was it?
Cocaine, Mark. Cocaine.
And I remembered a lesson I'd learned when I was 18. It was from a book called The Mystery Method, which was a book on dating. In it, the author cited something called the 7-hour rule. Basically, if you wanted to woo a girl, you needed to build roughly 7 hours trust before she would be wooed. And essentially, I was trying to woo my prospects into working with me. Didn't work. So being the person I am, I started trying to figure out how I could systematize building trust with prospects using the 7-hour rule on autopilot. And really, if you break it down, there are only 2 ways prospects could interact with me. It was either seeing the content I was posting or it was one-on-one communication. Now for content, I racked my brain. I didn't have the time to keep making this content every single day. And besides, most people are only going to be exposed to me for a limited period whilst they're in our pipeline. So technically, I could get the perfect optimal content and then I could just guarantee that any prospects saw it whilst they were in my pipeline. That way I could make it once and just use it over and over and over again, which, surprise, is exactly what I did. I made a suite of content answering all of the common questions I got during the sales process, showing the results I'd gotten for people in the past and simply giving free advice. Then I added this content to a remarketing campaign so that anyone who visited my website and booked a call would be guaranteed to see this content for at least 30 days. I then realized I could use the exact same strategy for the one-on-one communication. So I set up email sequences which followed the exact same principle. They answered questions, they gave value, and they showed the results others had experienced. Now I kept tweaking this process, trying new things, following up more, building out my system, and eventually it clicked, and suddenly I was closing 10K to 20K deals, even though I'd never thought of myself as a natural born salesperson. I still don't. So I'm going to show you how you can build trust and convert leads into paying customers, which can be used to actually pay your mortgage, by the way. That is legal tender. And I'm going to show you how to do it on autopilot so you can save yourself time in the process. First, we want to understand what our prospects in our pipeline want to know. So back to trusty AI, take all of the transcripts of your sales calls, emails you have from prospects during the sales process, and ask ChatGPT to tell you what the most common questions that come up during the sales process are. Now, we're just going to start answering those questions. Start by setting up simple follow-up emails for everyone who booked a call. We use Go high-level workflows to do this. I'd recommend at least 3 reminders prior to the call, just simply reminding them of the call, and somewhere in the region of 6 to 8 points of contact, giving value or answering questions prior to their initial call. Next, as you get more comfortable, set up remarketing ads. The best places for this are LinkedIn and Facebook. You can install a LinkedIn Insight tag or a meta pixel that logs when people visit your website, and you can set up campaigns that deliver your content to them for a set period after they visit your site. This time period depends on the length of your sales cycle, but usually I'd recommend 30 to 90 days. Launch this campaign and you'll easily hit the 7-hour rule on autopilot. Now, this is the exact system I use to finally get control of my B2B client acquisition, but there is way more nuance to this system, like how do you set up your landing pages or your ad campaigns so that you can launch this system on steroids? Well, in this next video, I go into even more depth as to how the system works. And if you want help setting this system up, just remember you've got access to free training and you can apply to work with us via links in the description below.